Hello and welcome to another episode of Wave Work Stress Goodbye with me, your host Luke Richardson. Today's topic, or this week's episode, is about unemployment. So, unemployment doesn't define you. Now, early in the week on the way to work, I opened my phone and saw a pretty shocking stat that this is the UK, by the way, it's not worldwide. In the UK, unemployment has risen 5% since September. Now, you can speculate all day why that might be the case, but this is not what this podcast is all about. This podcast and these recordings are all about how life truly works. Now, if you're someone who is unemployed and struggling to find work, I really hope this audio recording helps you to realise that you are not the result of your circumstances. I'll tell you a little story. So I had a job. Well, I worked at a company for 13 and a half years, and I worked there for 7.5 years as a project manager. And as of June 2024, I think it was last year, I found myself unemployed for the first time in a long time. And you'd think being a project manager with a pretty decent salary and having a mortgage to pay, having 2 kids to feed, and having a wife to support, you'd think me becoming unemployed would have really freaked me out. And, you know, to an extent it did, but it didn't freak me out as much as I thought it would have done. And the irony was that everybody around me, so, you know, my mum and dad, my in-laws, my wife, other friends and family, they were pretty concerned about the situation. They were really worried about it, understandably, of course. And as I say, it didn't freak me out as much as you probably thought it would have done. And I was pretty relaxed about it. And the irony was, I was more happier during that time of being unemployed than I had been in the last, say, 7.5 years. Well, what does that prove? Well, what that proves is it can't be the external circumstance that does it to us. Because if you think about it, I could have easily been very stressed, anxious and depressed in that moment. And I was unemployed for 2 months. So I think I was unemployed for June and July of last year in 2024. And I managed to land another job in the August. And while looking for another job, I did it very calmly. I did it from a place within. I didn't use it from my head. And it just proves that the inside-out understanding is very real. Because I was lucky enough, I'm trying to find the right words to put it. I was unconsciously creating a very relaxed experience about being unemployed. And there were a zillion, trillion, millions of possibilities that I could have created. I could have really created a lot of chronic depression and stress and anxiety. But I didn't. I created an experience of relaxation. So what does this mean for you if you're in a similar situation to I was of being unemployed and looking for your next adventure but struggling to do so? Well, I just want to take the opportunity on this recording to remind you that you are not the circumstance of being unemployed. It doesn't define you. It can't. Because let me remind you, if you're a fan of these recordings, you'll understand the trend now. Nothing out there can dictate what's going on inside of you. And that's the same if you're in a position where you're unemployed. The situation of being unemployed out there cannot download feelings into within you like you're a Wi-Fi router. It doesn't work that way. And you are much more than that. You are an abundance of possibility. And sure, you might have bills to pay. You might have a mortgage to pay like I did, and 2 kids to feed like I did, and a wife or husband to support like I did. But the situation doesn't define you. It doesn't make you the way you are, and that's where the big misunderstanding comes into this, because people tend to think the situation is about them, and that's who they are. Like, oh, I can't get another job, that's me. I can't hang on to a job, that's me. We make up a story about what's going on about ourselves and think that's the real us, but that's not true. It can't be true. As I say, you might have responsibilities, you might have bills to pay, but you're much better off tackling those responsibilities from a place within, in a place of calm and peace, rather than an absolute mess of chaos within your own mind. I hope that really hits home for you if you are in a situation of where you are unemployed. My heart goes out to you. I hope it works out for you, and it will, with trust and faith in the system. You have the common sense and wisdom to sort this out. You might not be able to control companies coming back to you for interviews and giving you job offers, but you can control what you see to be true within inside of you. So if you're creating a lot of anxiety, you can consciously, you can't choose the motion picture going on within your own mind, but what you can choose to do is realise that it's a motion picture. It's not real, and you can't take going back a bit of time, you can't take the DVD player or the VHS out of the mind, but you can just let it play and just see it as background music that you don't have to entertain. As if you're doing the ironing where you've got episodes of Friends on the background, you might choose to fixate on them episodes, or you might choose to ignore them. It's the same thing metaphorically, and it really will work out for you with faith in the system. And I mentioned it on the last recording. I've got an Instagram page now. I'll put the link in the description below, so you can check out more. If you prefer shorter reels explaining this understanding, you can check that out in Instagram. I've got more. If you're a fan of this podcast, do stay tuned, because in the next few weeks between now and Christmas, I have a couple of interview style podcasts for you to enjoy. And if you're just kind of dipping your toe into this understanding, then you might get a lot of benefit out of two people discussing the insight understanding a lot further, and especially how that links back to not just work but everything. And yeah, stay tuned between now and Christmas. I really think that you'll get a lot out of those 2 episodes coming up. And send me a message, say hi, send me a message on Instagram, send me a message on Spotify, on the podcast comments area, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you further. It's Sunday morning, there's still a lot of weekend to go. If you've got a couple of days off, then do enjoy them. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.